Fortnite is a pretty huge game right now. Maybe that's an understatement. And admittedly, I'm not exactly a Fortnite fanatic, so I might not be as excited about the game coming to the Switch as a lot of the trend bandwagoners. Yeah, I did just go there. But what I've heard some people saying about this game, Fortnite, coming to the Switch, is that when it comes out, it'll be a huge deal. It will sell boatloads of Switches and be one of the most important games to come out on the Switch. This will be a major Switch game that'll propel the Switch to even greater heights. But the problem is, I don't really think it'll be all that impactful on the Switch. Hello all 324 of you, I'm Redkwan, and this is why Fortnite on the Switch isn't a big deal. So why don't I think Fortnite will have a big impact on Switch sales or excitement? Well, firstly, because people can already play Fortnite everywhere else. It's on PC, it's on all the consoles, it's even on smartphones. So just about everyone already has the ability to play Fortnite in some other way. And because putting it on the Switch would just be more of an optional bonus than a must-have, it probably won't be enticing enough for most people to buy a Switch for it. And yes, I know the Switch version would have some advantages over the other versions, HD Rumble anyone. It would be the full version of the game, or at least pretty close to it, and it could be taken on the go. But the thing is, I don't think that's as big of a deal as people think. Most people will either care a lot about the quality, smoothness, and control of the game, therefore being inclined to play on a computer or console, or they care about the convenience much more, and just care about having the game experience with them, being more inclined to play on their phones. There are definitely some who would want a good mix of both instead, but for the majority of people, either the consoles and PC provide a high quality experience for those that value that, and the phone version is the most convenient, as most people have their phones on them anyway, for people who value convenience most. And that means that for the majority of people, they have the ability to play Fortnite that already better suits their most valued aspects of play. And to add on to that reasoning, there are other factors that might make a Switch version less necessary, even for that smaller group of people who would want a fair quality on-the-go experience instead of the other two options. For one, Fortnite is basically only anything online, and when the Switch is on the go, unless there's a close Wi-Fi signal, it can't connect to the internet. The mobile version of the game would be able to be played just about anywhere, while the Switch would be limited to places with a good connection, which might mean that it isn't a great game for the Switch when it's on the go. And if it's basically limited to the house for the majority of the time for most people, then it really just becomes an inferior console or PC version. Now I know that's not for everyone, and for some people and in some situations, it might be great on the go, but because it needs a good connection, it is still somewhat limited. And another part of it is, for it to be a system seller on the Switch, it can't just be downloaded by people who own the Switch already, which I'm sure it will. It'll need to convince people who don't own a Switch to get one, which is a lot harder to do. And the thing is, as popular of a game as Fortnite is, I can't imagine many people at all paying $300 for a Switch for a free game like Fortnite when they can almost certainly play it somewhere else cheaper. The fact that Fortnite is free is a good thing for the game, but I do think it'll discourage people from paying for the Switch to play the console version on the go, because it being free devalues it. It's hard to convince someone to pay $300 for a free game, as opposed to a full $60 game like Zelda Breath of the Wild. And besides some flaws like that, there are also just trends in usage. The Fortnite trend is starting to slow down. Even if it's still huge right now, people are starting to care less and talk about it less. And it's slow at first, but it'll probably pretty soon just become a popular game instead of a phenomenon. Searches for Fortnite peaked in mid-March, and it's now at less than 2/3 of the previous popularity. And I'm not saying it's going anywhere anytime soon, but if it ever had the power to convince somebody to buy a Switch just to play the console version on the go, that time has passed. And the thing is, the Switch is already popular enough and has buzz enough that something like Fortnite coming wouldn't really serve the purpose of getting people back into the Switch. It would just replace some other game that they would be playing instead. Either way, I don't think Fortnite for the Switch will sell many extra Switch systems, and therefore won't make the impact on the Nintendo Switch that some people have thought it will. The value it brings is in a pretty good combination of quality and portability, which while the best choice for some, is probably not the best version for most people, who would rather have terrific convenience with some sacrifices in quality, or terrific quality without the portability. Fortnite also, being available on everything else, is probably not worth the cost of buying a Switch, even for the people who would prefer that version over the other options. And Fortnite is already nearing the end of its phenomenon status, which will mean it won't have nearly the buzz it would have a few months ago. I still think Fortnite will be downloaded by a ton of current Switch owners, and a lot of people will play it on their Switches, but in terms of making a huge impact on the Switch and system sales, I don't think it'll do much of anything. Well, I'm Redkwan. What do you think about Fortnite Switch? Will it make a big impact on Switch sales? Do you despise Fortnite and wish it never existed? Well, just in case you don't like Fortnite, you can always look forward to Redkwan Battle Royale, where you have 100 frogs try to be the last one standing, coming August 14th. Anyways, I'm Redkwan. Thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.